Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Town Hall. I am your host, Meredith Lilly. And let me just say this. I just want to thank you all for tuning in for the last few weeks. It has been incredible. We've been doing a lot of election coverage, and I've been learning a lot. I've been seeing a lot on the ground, hearing a lot. And let me just say this. It's not time to give up. It's not time to let go. We still have to get back out there. We have another election, two very important city elections coming up in Georgia in January, plus other local elections across the country. So look, it's not time to get tired, but we have to get back out. We got to keep pushing and push us on over to the finish line. But again, I just want to say thank you for joining in. Now, today I want to come in with a special edition of Town Hall. I want to bring on some of our Black authors across the U.S. today. I want to highlight them, some of the brilliant minds. We need Black authors. We need more. Black authors tell the story of both the struggle and the triumphs of our community. So I am so happy today. We're taking just a little break from the election and just tune into something different today with our Black authors. So let me welcome, y'all help me welcome three great authors today. Terry Mills from Birmingham, Alabama. His book, Nobody Cares, Work Harder. Then we have Beatrice Gautreaux. How you doing? Blind Justice. I'm so excited about reading that. And thirdly, we have Miss Kadora. Ladies, love yourselves first. That's happiness. I love that title, and I'm so excited to talk about your book as well today. So authors, thank you so much for joining us today. I am just ready to jump into a great conversation, and just so excited that you all took the time to join us today. I know you all have been, some of you have been on the road marketing, just trying to get your books out there. So I'm excited to hear about it. So first and foremost, welcome. But I want to ask, and I'll start with you, Terry Mills. Where did you get your title from your book? Where did you get the inspiration from?
Yeah, so here is actually a very funny story. So I'm a big Baltimore Ravens fan. Love Lamar Jackson. And last year, I'm pretty sure everybody saw it. He had a press conference and he had on a T-shirt that said, "Nobody cares, work harder." And I thought it was a cool twist because he had an MVP year, right? So basically, he's stating this is good. However, we still got work to do. And so I kind of just attached that to everything that I was doing, hashtagging on all my posts or whatnot. And then when I decided to write a book, I said, man, I think this would be a great author because a great title because it's catchy. And that's kind of how it came up.
Wow. So Terry, like, do you get a lot of questions about your title? Because that's the thing that stuck out most to me when I saw your book was Nobody Cares, Work Hard. And I know people have a lot of excuses about, why they can't do something. But the reality is, although we do have people that care out there, people still just want you to keep pushing and get to the end. So do you get a lot of questions about your title?
Oh, absolutely, man. Because I got T-shirts and hoodies or whatever, and I just wear it, and people be like, "Man, I feel that." They don't even know what it's about. However, it can resonate with everybody, and so, that's basically the whole theme of the book is going through adversity. It's basically my story. I'm telling it from beginning to end where I am now, and kept hitting brick walls, kept hitting brick walls. At the end of the day, you got to keep going, right? And I think right now with everything that's going on in the world, we all just need some inspiration, just to keep people encouraged to keep going. So. Absolutely, man. People that I've had people that said, I don't even know if I'm gonna read it, but just the title alone makes me want to buy it. So I'm like, well, whatever you need to do, I'm with it.
Absolutely. Now, Kadori, ladies, love yourselves first. That's happiness. Now, that makes me
Yes.
smile as well. Now, tell me a little bit about where you get your inspiration from your title. These titles are just sticking out.
It mostly comes from my personal journey in life and different issues with relationships, as far as being married before, as far as friendships, and just taking care of patients over the years. I find that more women than anything else don't usually live their dreams. They always put everyone else first, whether it's their children or their jobs or their spouses or their mates. And what you find is that later on, when women maybe get in their late 30s or early 40s, they start realizing I haven't really been pouring into myself. So that's where you see the emptiness at, and people trying to reinvent themselves or figure out who they are. So I just want to get to women earlier and inspire them to love yourself first. Just like when you're on an airplane, if they tell you that this plane goes down, you have to put your oxygen mask on first. Fill your cup up till it's overflowing before we keep pouring into everyone else, because that's what women were taught to do. That's what society teaches us. You should be the sacrificial lambs for everybody else, but what about your purpose in life? What about what you're supposed to be doing? What about making yourself happy first?
Wow, look, I should have had that a few years ago, and I'm gonna get it
Right.
soon because I am a workaholic, and I could go years without literally dating people or dating
Right.
someone special. And it's funny because I just do not pour the time into myself because I honestly like working, and I like
Right.
what I do. I like working in politics, and so that's absolutely brilliant. And I think about a lot of women that work in politics with me. Um,
Right.
they neglect themselves. We neglect
Right.
ourselves a lot. So
We do. We
thank you
do.
for that. Yeah, and so I'm going to switch over to Beatrice, if you don't mind. Blind Justice. That's another great title, a bold title. Tell me a little bit about your inspiration behind your title.
Um, my title was actually selected by a group of family and friends. I was stuck on the title, didn't know what it was going to be. So I had a happy hour party, read a little bit about the excerpt of the book, and I had everybody vote on the title. And we landed right here on Blind Justice. Um,
Wow.
the title is tied to the main character of the book, Taylor, who is a lawyer like yourself. And all she does is work. But she gives her time back to the community. And then when she does find the guy, it turns out to be potentially not the right guy. And she asks herself, could justice be this blind? And therein lies the title, Blind Justice.
Wow, now wait a minute. All three of y'all books are speaking to me. Now look, and I'm gonna circle back. I'm like, I'm gonna have to get into all these, but I'm gonna circle back to Terry real quick because being that I work a lot, like me personally, and I know a lot of people that's tuning in, the thousands of people that's tuning in to this show today. I know me personally, I get tired of the excuses. I don't even want nobody around me to have excuses because I'm just straightforward. I have people that say, well, I can't do this, or I can't do this, or I can't stop this, or I can't stop this. There's a way out of everything. There's a way to fix a lot of stuff. And so a lot of people just don't want to get into the work. And
Right.
so I want to talk to you about, can you tell us, and not to give your whole book away, but just tell us some of the brick walls you hit in your life and how you overcame them, and to even write this book. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you intertwine yourself into your story.
Yeah, so basically, for people that don't know, of course, I guess a lot of them don't know, I'm a realtor by profession. And the journey from corporate America to entrepreneur was very challenging, right? So in 2015 is when I got my license and I joined Keller Williams. But prior to that, I had a pretty good job. I was with a company called Judicial Correction Services for 9 years. Started as a probation officer and ended up moving all the way up to a probation director for Central Alabama. So everything was good, right? Like I figured I was where I was going to be. And after 9 years, they laid us off, and they gave us like a 3 week notice and like a 6 week severance. Like literally, when I got the check, I could pay for one month of bills. That was it. And so I was like, man, I didn't see this coming, right? And at the time, I had just got my license, but going from entrepreneur to, I mean, going from corporate America to entrepreneur was very hard. I went 6 or 7 months with no income trying to start a new business. And so, not to go too deep, but just had real hard times. Not even that, but just getting my real estate license, I had to take the test 4 times. So there was several times I could have just quit, right, and just said, this is not for me. I just go back and find a job, but I didn't. And then, it was because of encouraging people around me and just, faith in God and whatnot. But I see people see where I am now and think, oh, it's just always been great, and it wasn't, and it's still not, right? Like we still have challenges and adversity, but just some of those hurdles in the beginning. It's so funny to look back at now and laugh and say, man, that was real, and then to look at where we are now. And so, I mean, that's basically what the book is about. It's like, I'm pretty sure you have a story. Everybody on this show could sit back and tell you every reason not to be successful, but you're either going to fall victim or you're going to get through it and keep pushing.
Right. And you touched on something. A lot of people look at social media. I know you be on
Mm,
social media. I'm a social media type person, and they see like the glamour shots and the
yeah,
traveling,
yeah,
and they think,
yeah,
oh, you just woke up and you got there. It's a
right.
lot of work. I tell my friends that even come to Atlanta Mayor's Ball every year, and they love to come to Mayor's Ball. I get them tickets to the Atlanta Mayor's Ball, and they're like, oh, Meredith over here doing it. Well, it was sweat put in these tickets that I got you for this Bears
Right.
ball. It was
That's
hard
right.
work to get into this VIP. So it's not
Right.
like it's just somebody just passing out tickets. No, it takes work.
Hmm.
It takes work. So you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. A lot of times people look at your life, at your family life, and say, "Whoa, they just woke up and they got here, and I'm gonna do real estate now because I'm gonna be just like that." But it's
Man.
more than that. And Beatrice, you're shaking your head. I want you to jump in and add to that narrative.
You're right. It is more to it. It's interesting. I had this conversation just yesterday with a friend of mine. Um, People see the present, but they don't see the journey.
Hmm.
And it becomes, it's for me, it was, I wasn't supposed to make it, if you will. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in a rural town in Louisiana, just outside of New Orleans, where there were no red lights. I can remember growing up, our house was on a dirt road. We didn't even have paved streets. Levee on one side, sugarcane on the other side. So the dream was supposed to be get married, have children, white picket fence, and a dog. And for me, I was like, there's got to be more to life than that. And I always read. So for me, reading was a journey to live in another planet, if you will. It was my traveling the world through books. And through that reading, I became encouraged and inspired, and I wanted to see the world. And so that journey came with blood, sweat, tears, knots, bruises, and all of the things that you're talking about, you and Terry are talking about. But somehow you make it through. I was told so many times, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Um, you're not good enough to do that. And my response to it all was, let me show you. And
Wow.
so you roll your sleeves up and you put in the work, because it does require work, hard work. I work and I enjoy my work. I haven't transitioned from corporate America yet. I'm juggling both and I love it. So I'm working all the time. So, like you said, people see you in the airport, on the plane. I'm not as big on social media. I stayed off social media on purpose. But with the book, it requires me to get out there, right? And so, you see the flights here or the flights there, and you think it's all glam and glitter, and nobody sees the blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that,
Absolutely. And here's the thing: people show you what they want to show you, right? And
exactly.
it's funny because I just told you, Kadori, that I've been in Houston 3 to 4 times last month.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't want to
Right.
travel during Corona, during COVID-19, but I was traveling for work. I was traveling,
Right.
for campaigns and traveling during. So people don't see that, but they see the restaurants I go to at night because I'm gonna eat
Mhm.
good, but they don't see the work that I
Right.
do during the day. So
Right.
Kadori, I want you to jump in on the same thing that we're talking about, and talk about, just touch on some of your struggles. I know in your book, finding happiness through yourself, and I mean, loving yourself first. I know that you struggled, and you said that you went through divorce and you went through different things, and I'm guessing that you may have put yourself second or third through a lot of times in your life, like most women do. So can you touch on that
Absolutely.
for us?
Yes. First of all, I come from a large family. I'm one of 13. So I was one of the oldest siblings. I had
Wow.
to help raise my siblings when they were coming up. So I didn't really get to play and do as much as a child. So I call myself adult child growing up. But I broke down barriers. I was the first one in my family to go to become a registered nurse. So by me doing that, I was able to afford a lot of things that I have, but that was hard work. And I raised 5 children, 2 marriages, both I had to file for divorce, where I attracted what I didn't heal, which I came up in a verbally abusive, sometimes physical. So I attracted, as much as I said I'll never marry somebody like that, I attracted some of those qualities in myself because I hadn't ever healed it. And so I ended up in 2 different, almost the same person that was mostly verbal, but some physical, and just was not supportive, did not want to see, quote unquote, me outshine them, which is supposed to be us when we get married. It's not supposed to be you looking at me this way, like I'm going to leave you or be more successful. I don't know. I attracted what I didn't heal. Okay. And then just different things that I've seen over the years, when patients come in the hospital, they don't just always tell you what they're there for. They'll start talking about personal things in their lives. If they see you a type of person that like to listen, which I am, a lot of women will go into different problems they have with their relationships. And this cuts across racial, social, economic, religious barriers, just women in general. I notice that we're always the ones that give so much in these relationships, and we come up short. So my first book, it was about women being happy. In this book, I just took it to a different level and just delve into my own life to share challenges that I've dealt with both on the job and personal life, to help people see that once you really tune everybody out and focus on yourself and listen to your inner voice, that's where you can find your real happiness. It's not about pleasing everybody else. You need to please yourself first. You only have one life, and once you're gone, that's it. So you need to figure out what your purpose is and start living that sooner than later.
Wow. Okay, so let me ask y'all this. How long, and anybody can jump in first, because see, I've been working on a book now for like 10 years. No lie. And so I know there's a lot of people that's tuning in, and they're like, how long did it take them to write? I start a little bit and then I stop because, again, being in a political world when you're in campaigns is like full zone. You working 16 to 20 hours a day. You eating crap all day, pizza and all this stuff all day. And so you really don't have a lot of time to yourself. So I'll write a little bit during holidays where everybody may be enjoying. That's the time that I may, Thanksgiving or Christmas, I may sit alone and just write a little bit more. I think my book the top topic and stuff may have even gotten stale by now. Because I was talking about my story through the Obama campaign. And me starting from the very beginning and going to the end. So I don't know. I may still keep writing. I may just stop. But how long did it take y'all? I know that you're doing your second one. Kador, this is your second one. But Terry, Beatrice, how long did it take y'all to work on this? Anybody can jump in.
I was trying to like wait.
Go ahead, Terry.
So here's what's funny about this, man. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Good. Okay. I started writing, I think, in 2014. And I was inspired. I had this whole thing, words were flowing, pinning it down. And then I didn't touch the book for 3 years. And then I started writing again. And then I didn't touch it again for a while. And last year, around end of summer, and I don't even know what inspired me, but for some reason I had this overwhelming unction to just pick the pen back up. And I did. And I finished writing it in 6 months. But that was focus, dedication, sacrifice. My Saturdays and Sundays was like just all writing. I travel a lot with work, so I would write on the plane, I'd write in the airports. And so I was able to finish it in 6 months. But I started this project way back in 2014.
Wow. Terry, what about you?
So mine's a little bit different. The idea has been going on in my head for about 2 years. Of course, I battled those insecurities first of who would even read my book, right? Like, why would I write a book? Second, did I have anything to talk about? But honestly, man, beginning of 2020, I just said, this is the year I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to make myself do it. And then COVID hit. And so when we got that notification that you're going to be in the house for 6 weeks, I was like, here it is. So honestly, man, I did it in like in 3 months. Um, Now the editing kind of took like another month or whatever, but the actual content of just sitting down every day was a good 3 month period.
That's pretty awesome. Kadori, and you can talk about the first one and the second one.
Okay. The first book I was inspired because there was a large book convention that's in New York every year, and it's called BookCon, Book Expo BookCon. I wanted to go to that, and I found out about it in April. So I had the idea for years, just jotting it here and there, not really being disciplined or taking it serious. But when I found out about that, because someone else was going that I knew, I wrote that in less than 3 months because I had to get it written and get it edited. And it was a smaller book than
Hmm.
this one. And then this particular book was on my mind for the longest time, probably the last 2 years with everything I went through. And so when the pandemic hit, I got more serious about it, but I really didn't take it seriously until about July of this year. And once July came, I dedicated time when I wasn't at work, like the other author said, weekends were taken up and all that stuff. It's in the final stages of editing now. It should be out within the next 2 weeks, but it was a lot of dedication to do it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. So let's circle back around. I want to touch on some of the insecurities that come with writing and how did y'all overcome or how did you overcome some of those insecurities with your writing? We can start with you, Beatrice, first, and then we'll go to Kadori and then over to Terry.
Um, like Terry said earlier, the first thing for me, it was, well, who's going to read it? And why would somebody listen to what I have to say? And then first, I wasn't even writing at first to publish. It was just, it was a project. It was personal to me. And it was just, yeah, it started off as a personal project. And then I had two really close friends of mine who are near and dear to me, read a part of it and was like, you have to do something with this. And then even then I resisted. I was like, nope, not doing it. Who's going to read this? And what if nobody likes it? And, it's because it's sort of it's a love story told through a murder trial. It's like, this isn't even really a genre, right? It doesn't really fit in this one. It doesn't really fit in that one. And all those excuses. And then you go back to the days when I was a younger girl and I can hear, you're not good enough. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You're not good enough to do that. And all those things resurface. And then finally, you're like, but I serve a God. And then the rest is history. And because for me, I was inspired with just that. It's like, you know what, when I look at my journey and I see where I've been and the road to, I, by any stretch of the imagination, am I finished or have reached a destination? I don't even know what that is. I think my journey is going to be lifelong. But I said, just like I was inspired by other books, maybe my words will inspire some young person who think they can't, and they see, hey, she did it, so why can't I? So I let that inspiration and encouragement to inspire and encourage someone else drive me to finish the book. And then hopefully it'll take a life of its own, and for the next person who says I can't, they'll have something that says yes, you can.
Absolutely. Kadori?
Yes, and for me, it was the same thing. I think you have to go on this journey inside your mind and just come to the terms of, you know what, there's only one me. That's what I end up coming up with, and my voice is my voice. So I was already inspiring people in my personal life, a lot of patience over the years, and people would listen. And sometimes people would even ask, hey, are you a motivational speaker, by me trying to encourage them? So I knew that in the back of my mind that people needed to hear it. And the thing is, your audience is your audience. And whatever we have, that's our voice. Everybody's not going to like everything. So you have to get to the point where you know that I'm not trying to please everybody. I'm trying to get my message to who it's for. That's called your target audience. And you're going
That's right.
to impact other people that aren't even in your target audience just by default. It may be the catchy title that he has or she has, but you are speaking to the person who needs to hear you when you write the book. So I had to tell myself, when I had those flashes in your mind, like you're not good enough, or what makes you think somebody wants to read this, or how dare you write a book about blah, you have to know that it's for who it's for, and just put it in the universe, and it's going to help people. So I just wanted to help people. So that's what made me get out of my insecurities.
Wow.
Wow. And
Yeah, I
before
mean,
you go ahead, Terry.
I was gonna say I could just ditto everything they said, man. It's the same thing. We all got the same kind of common motivation, right? You have to realize at some point that it's a bigger why, right? Like it's not for you. I even tell people like my book is not even about the money. I've probably given away not half, but just as many as I have sold because of the encouragement that I get when people call and text me and say, "Man, I'm so glad you wrote that book." Like I never would have
Right.
known you had a problem with this. We relate in so many, areas, and honestly, man, when I did it. I said this was it, like one and done, right? It was just a checklist. I'm done. Now, because of the feedback and the dialogue I'm getting, I'm like, man, I'm ready to write another book, right? And so when you
Right.
when you find like your passion in life and your motivation in life, that carries you through any of the insecurities that you can ever have because you know
Right.
something's good on the other side. That's why you're insecure about it because it's something that's big. It's something if it doesn't make you nervous or insecure about it, then it's probably not big enough, right? And so that's
Right.
the reason why you do it. Like even writing it I was getting so encouraged every morning to write it just to hear myself tell my own story, if that sounds makes sense. Like when you're
Mm-hmm.
going through life, you don't stop sometime and just think about, man, look where I come from, right? Or look
Right.
how that happened. But writing this, I'm just like, Jesus, I don't know if I could do it again, right? Like if you really think about it. And it's so crazy how God works. So this weekend, my wife and I was in LA for just a quick getaway and I didn't even really pay attention to the date, but Friday the 13th was the date I got laid off 5 years ago. And here we
Wow.
are chilling up in Beverly Hills, right? You see what I'm saying? So it's like God is always talking to you. He's always talking to you. And to me, that was the confirmation like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And so, yeah, you have those insecurities, but at the end of the day, once you realize it's a bigger purpose and a bigger why, and you're trying to help other people, that just keeps you going.
Listening to the three of y'all really are giving me goosebumps. And about my own journey, and I was thinking about just my own insecurities. And I remember when I was in law school in Houston, Texas, at Thurgood Marshall. Let me give a shout out to my HBCU. But I was in law school, and I was running for the Black Law Student Association president. Now everybody, told me I should run, and I did, and I was excited about it. And then I remember the day that I won, one of the young ladies said, "How's she gonna represent us with that old country accent? She doesn't know how to talk." And I had never heard that before. And immediately it seemed like just Satan came in that door and gave me a punch
Hmm.
after I was just so high, and I was just
Mhm.
so I was high from winning. And then she said she can't talk her southern drawl. It's just ooh. And so, it hit me so hard, and then I stopped wanting to talk, and all I do is talk. And so, it hurt my feelings so bad when she said, I still remember the girl that said it and everything. But it's so amazing that I get paid to talk now, right? So
Wow.
God is so good. I get paid to talk, and I get paid to think, and come up with strategy. And so, just like you were saying, Terry, how you look back at certain things, and I was just like, my, where is that girl now? I'm gonna have to find her. But no,
Bring on the show.
I'm sure she's doing well, but I always remember that. And we have to not
Mm-hmm.
listen to those insecurities. We have to keep pressing them down. They're always going to come up. They're always going
Yep.
to come up. I had an incident last week. I think I was having a perfect day, a great day, and I don't even know why I'm telling this story. Maybe it inspires somebody, but I was having such a beautiful day. We were filming this documentary, and this lady, exact words that wrote this documentary, she said, Meredith, your reputation has preceded itself. Every city we go to, everybody has talked positive about you. Later on that night, I got a call that said, hey, I heard this about you. And I just started bawling. Now, I went from earlier that day, somebody saying something positive, and then somebody called me, this was just last week, about something negative, and I was just like, why would somebody say something so mean and not true? So But it's all that stuff is going to be out there. And the further and further you try to go, all that stuff going to come in and try to knock you back down and knock you off your course. And so you always have to just stay focused. You know, you have to stay focused and not look to the left or the right, but just stay focused on the journey, because all of that stuff is going to come. And now I'm starting to experience it more. And now I'm starting to recognize what it is, what it is. At first, I just didn't recognize it. I just ignored that stuff. And I thought, I always try to think the best of everybody. But the truth of the reality is things are going to come. Things are going to try to mess you up and take you off your journey. But we have to stay focused. It looked like you wanted to say something, Kadora. You can go on in.
Yeah, that's all day long. That's anybody. It doesn't matter where you are. You're gonna get that negativity, and I think the further you go, the more you're gonna get it, because you're living your purpose. And it's like as long as it won't hurt you unless you give into it. You're gonna have it. You just gotta stay focused, like you said, and know that the further you go, the more it's gonna come. But stay focused. Don't give any attention to it that much. Let it roll off your back and just keep trucking on.
Right. And so speaking of that, that's what I was about to say. What type of negativity have you all faced on this journey? Like I just told you a story about me, which is very recent. What have you faced on your journey in terms of negativity? And we can start with you, Terry.
I mean, really, man, just the general hate, right? Because just like you, I have a big presence on social media. So um, when you put yourself out there, you're going to always be open to criticism. Nothing even worth mentioning, but just the negativity. But like you said, that's just part of it, man. I was told if people aren't shooting at you, you're not flying high enough. So the simple fact that people have something to say or people are coming at you, that means you're doing something right. And so it is what it is, man. Like you said, you got to stay focused and don't give in to the noise, because it will deter you. But you got to realize they hated on Jesus, so what makes you think they're not going to hate on you?
That's absolutely right. Beatrice.
I have to say, if there have been any negativity, either I haven't listened to it or I haven't heard it, or I've just been sheltered from it. I have had an overwhelming amount of support from my family, from friends, my colleagues, people I don't even know. And so, I'm not one of those, I mentioned earlier, I stayed off social media on purpose for a long time. So I don't listen to the noise. If it's there, it's there. That's your thing. It's not mine. I'm not going to make it mine because I've got somewhere to go and I'm trying to get there, and I can't be distracted with the noise.
That's right. Kadori.
You definitely have to stay focused, and it teaches you got to have thick skin, because for me, I'm aware of everything, probably because I have to be aware because I'm a nurse. So, you get those things where you're aware of everything, but I've had overwhelming support. But I have noticed that some people that I thought would support me, both family and friends, have not. And that's something that you'll see on any journey to success. And they'll tell you in many books that you read. I'm a big reader of a lot of most motivational books as well. But when you're moving and you're doing something, because what happens is this: you haven't done anything to the people, but what you're doing, it makes people hold a mirror up to themselves, and they compare themselves to you. This is their problem, it's not yours. But because of that, you get envy and jealousy, and people that you would have thought were your friends or even certain family members won't support you. It doesn't matter if it's $1 to your cause, they won't support you. So all the books tell you that a lot of your support, especially when you're first coming out, is going to come from people that don't even know you. And that's pretty much anything you do. You'll have some that support, but you'll be surprised how people reveal themselves when you start doing things that, because they question themselves. It's their own insecurities. It's nothing you've done.
That's
Right. Terry, you look like you wanted to say something today.
Man, I could have jumped up and said amen.
No,
Y'all know I'm a deacon, so I'd be ready. Amen. Come on,
I
Pastor.
know.
But no,
Exactly. I
you're
know.
right. I realized that, and I had to come to grips with that, especially, starting new in real estate, kind of took off pretty fast. And a lot of the agents who I looked up to were the main ones. I kind of like, why are they making those comments? Are they talking about me? Like you would see little subliminal stuff, nothing direct, but just enough to say, I don't know about this person. But what I had to realize is you're just mad at yourself. right? Like you're not
Yeah.
mad at me, you're mad because you're not doing what I'm doing. And so once you understand that's part of being successful on your journey to success, you can deal with it. I mean, just look at some of the top athletes. Look at LeBron James. As great as he is, people still hate LeBron James. I don't see how. Right? Like this man is like, if you write it on paper, he's the poster boy of what you should look like. But you still have people that are criticizing. So what makes you think they're not gonna criticize you if they can criticize somebody like that, right? And so you just gotta stay focused. I think the most powerful thing you can do is get a good positive circle around you, right? Because for me, those are
That's
the
it.
ones that keep me encouraged. Like the core 4 or 5 people that you know are gonna have your back and tell you what's right. And as
Right.
long as you keep them in your ear and keep them happy, then everything else I think will take care of itself. Like you said, you can't please everybody. It's not for everybody. It's like you said, your book is for your audience. It's not for everybody.
Right.
I've even seen stuff. I think it's kind of funny. I do like sponsored ads with my book. It is called Nobody Cares, Work Harder. And somebody said nobody cares. Like that was funny to me. I'm not gonna lie. It's just like a jab at the book, but that just comes with it, right? At the end of the day, the people that are going to buy it are still buying it, and so you just got to keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but look, y'all are dropping some jewels today, and it just made me think. Going back to what you said, Kadori, about not getting so offended when your family and friends don't support you. I tell my clients that when they're running for office, you looking for volunteers to go door to door for you, and you announce that I'm gonna run for judge, or I'm gonna run for mayor, and you thinking all these people are gonna give up their Saturdays and Sundays to help you. Well, that's not the case. Usually your core group, like Terry said, that 4 or 5, your wife, your husband, your kids. But many times you're out there by yourself, but you got to keep going, and you can't take it personally. You really
Yeah.
can't take
Right.
it personally. And so, mainly people may have other stuff to do. They don't think it's that important. And some people just don't think that you can win. So, they're not going to be behind you. So you just cannot take that stuff personal. Y'all are dropping so many jewels. I want to kind of keep going and shift the conversation back to the actual book. What made you, or what did y'all have around you to kind of make you just write? Were you in a room with just complete silence? Did you have music on? Did you have poetry on? Did you have to work out first? Drink something first or eat something first? Look at the ocean. What was it that made you sit down and just write?
I think for me, it varies, right? Um, I'm most creative. I'm a night owl, so I'm most creative at night. So I'm in PJs in the middle of the bed, laptop in my lap, um, snacks, and I might start writing 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I'll literally look up and it'll be 4:30 or the sun will be rising. That's one thing. But then I can be just as effective sitting in the middle of the floor on a Saturday afternoon, bright sunshiny day. I think it just depends on where I am that week, what my week has looked like, and the things that are around me, what's going on around me at any particular time. But for the most part, for me, it's the middle of the night in the middle of the bed in PJs.
Wow.
I'll get ideas. I'll get ideas like in the middle of the day or just anytime, because if you have a creative mind, something may come to your mind. I'll jot it in my phone. But a lot of times I do most of my writing in my bedroom, sometimes in the evening or night, but I already have ideas in my phone that I've jotted down before, and then I'll just go off that idea and just write a chapter or two off of that idea that I thought
Mhm.
of earlier.
Mm,
Wow.
I'm the total
Terry.
opposite. I can't do nothing at night. I'm done. so so actually the publishing company that I use actually offered a writing coach. And so that's actually what kept me in the game. So every week I would have to turn in content. And so that kept me accountable as to what to do and what to turn into. Because a lot of people were like, but how do you just sit down and write? Like I couldn't. I needed somebody to say, turn in 2 chapters by Monday on this. Done. I could do it that way, right? And so I did all mine in the morning. Like I said, this was during COVID, when the gyms were closed. I work out and do all that stuff a lot. And so since I couldn't, I'm up anyway. So it just worked out perfect. We got two small kids, a 4-year-old and 1-year-old, so it's too loud during the day to talk about writing. So I had to get up early before everybody else was up. Do an hour or two here, and then maybe throughout the day something might hit me and I jot it down. But yeah, most of my stuff was done early in the mornings.
Wow. So I guess you kind of hit it. You got a beautiful wife. You got a beautiful family. Were they the inspiration behind your book, or was it somebody else in your family? What was the inspiration behind your book?
Really my sons, man. Like my two young boys make me overcome fear more than anything because I want to really set the stage for them and say, hey, these are some of the things your dad was able to do. And so like I dedicated the book to them. Of course, they don't appreciate it now, but they will when they get old, I hope. But yeah, it was one of those things. It's like, man, the content was easy because it's my story, right? So that's a little bit easier to come up with. However, the motivation was to show them, listen, man, I went through this, and still was able to figure it out. And so just to let them know the world's only going to get colder, the world's only going to get harder, and we can't, become victim to our excuses. And so that was kind of the motivation. Not that, and then I've had, like I said, that core group that has been telling me, bro, you need to write a book. Like you need to put this out there. 'Cause some of the stuff that I tackle, we as black men don't talk about. Like not even just financial hardships, but insecurities. Talking about relationships, dating, right? Like talking about not really being social. Like a lot of people have a hard time even believing I was a social misfit. Like I would be the most uncomfortable guy in the room talking about introducing myself and talking to people. But now I'm a realtor. You can't sell real estate. You can't talk to people, right? And so it's like people that know me, be like, bro, you from 10 years ago are totally different from where you are now. And it's cool to talk about that. Like we need to, as black men, encourage each other. We were brought up to be tough, macho guys, always gotta win, but that's not real life. Most of even the most gangster guys I know are the most nicest guys when you really know them, right? So a lot of times we're taught to put on this hard exterior, and that's not real life. And so, like even in looking at some of my pictures, if you look at pictures from me like '08, '09, I've got this mug on, I'm gangster, right? And if you look at me now, I'm like smiling and super bubbly, and it's just like that's okay. And so having people around me to say, Terry, you need to talk about this, put this in the book. Those are the kind of things that encourage me.
Oh, awesome. Kadori, your motivation.
Just knowing that where I was and where I came, and that people can get to where they need to be just from the little nuggets that I was dropping on people anyway. And they were able to say, hey, what you just said really helped me or inspired me, or I'm going to go do this or that. And one of the big things I like to tell people, men and women as well, but that what people feel about you has nothing to do with you. And I know that just sounds cliche. That sounds like something anybody would just say and just like, oh, this is
Mm-mm.
nothing. It's actually true. When people feel a certain way about you or throw hate at you and you haven't done anything, that has nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with them. And so if I can let somebody know that, how these people feel about you has nothing to do with you. Stay focused. Stay on your grind. What's your purpose? Don't pay
Mm-mm.
attention to that. They're just upset
Right.
because they don't know who they are. So they're going to react and put it out on you, but you don't have to accept it. So that right there holds a lot of people back, worrying about what somebody else is saying, and you can't even get out of that space in your head to do what you need to do.
That's good. Beatrice,
I was looking for some positive energy in a painful period. And so I felt like some of the story in the book resonates with where we are in today's world, and I wanted to find a way to just inspire, encourage, um, you know, a moment where somebody could laugh and just don't even feel the pain. Might be a strong word, but the pain of the world that we're living today. And so for me, it was more to encourage, to uplift, and to provide some positive energy in a painful time in life.
right? I like that, and I think I'm going back to something that Kadori said. See, here's the thing: even when you write in books, and I have a lot of friends as authors, and I was reading this in the New York Times not too long ago, where sometimes books, and that's why you have to be so diligent. I think a man wrote a book 20 years ago. Somebody walked by it, picked it up 20 years later, read it. I mean, and the thing took off, became a New York Times bestseller, and it just took off because it changed that one person's life. That one person got in the hands of that one person. So we can't worry about and get so stuck in, who's buying it, who's not buying it. Did nobody buy my book but my mama? It doesn't matter. And so we have to just stay focused and not a politician. I was working on this elected officials campaign one time, and she actually was the one that told me I was getting nervous on the campaign because we was getting all these jabs, and I was like, I cannot lose this race because I'm new to Atlanta. If I lose this race, they're gonna send me back. And so I was all nervous, and she said, listen, you are, you're the campaign manager, I'm the client, but listen to me. We can't get focused on the left. They trying to get your attention. And as soon as you take your attention off the goal, they're going to knock you down. And so that stuck with me years later because I was just like, I cannot lose this race. So I was getting scared every time somebody called and say, did you see the news? Did you hear what they just said about your client? Did you hear they talking about it? They talking about it. And they like, why are you listening to all of that? It's not true. And they trying to get you off because if they can get the head off, they're going to tear down the whole team. And so, yeah,
That's
you
right.
keep listening to stuff on the news and the social media, they're going to tear you down. And so that's so focused, even in this world of illustrations and authors. It doesn't matter who buys the book immediately, who don't buy the book. Stay diligent, stay persistent. Consistency is the key to the breakthrough. And as long as we stay consistent, we will see that breakthrough toward the end. As we start wrapping up, I do want to ask you to share with people that's writing books right now, what are some helpful resources out there, some useful things, even if, you tell somebody how they should structure their meeting space, their room space, what is some stuff that can help up and coming authors that's out there right now? Anybody can jump in.
So I would say one, outline, make sure you have an outline. For me, that was helpful. I had an outline. We all walk around with our phones glued to us today. When the thought comes into your mind, if you don't have time to write it down, speak it in your voice command. You have it later to build on. So make sure you keep your notes and dedicate time to write. Because if you say, oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, 4 years will pass by and you won't get there. So dedicate that time, schedule it, and honor it just like you would honor any other time. So that would be my key suggestions.
All right, Kadora.
I would say one thing that people can do is dedicate that time, that specific time to put into your book, whether it's once a day, 1 hour, every 3 days, 2 hours, or once a week, 4 hours. Whatever it is for you that works out for you. If you dedicate that time and you have a space where you can just be alone to let your creative thoughts flow, then you already have that time assigned, unplug turn your phone off, everything off so you can dedicate that time to it. And then once you start getting a couple chapters, you'll be motivated then to keep going. But you have to have that specific time set aside to put towards writing the book.
All right, Terry.
Yeah, I agree with everything they said, and I'll just add the accountability. Build some accountability around it. I see a lot of people that say they're going to do stuff but scared to tell people they're going to do it because they don't want accountability. I'm the opposite. Like, I'm going to tell you, hey, I'm dropping this book this summer. I hadn't wrote one paragraph, but the simple fact that I'm telling you and putting it out there, that accountability keeps me on task. I remember, man, I was coming out with marketing videos before I was halfway through, and I was like, I got the marketing done. I just got to finish the book. But that is what kept me focused. And that I'm a shiny light in bright objects type of person. And so that was my motivation. Like, I'm just ready to market it, right? And so that kept me glued to that laptop week in and week out. And so I think just anything, not just writing a book, but build in some accountability, putting it out there that you're going to do it, because your circle will remind you, hey, I thought you was going to have this book coming out. What's going on with that?
Right.
Don't be And in real estate, what we call it is don't be a secret agent. Don't be a real estate agent that nobody knows about, right? Like you in real estate, nobody know it. Well, what good is that? So anything that you're doing, I say build that accountability out there so people know what's going on.
That I am the exact same way. I tell people all the time, if I say it, that means I have to do it. My word is
That's right.
everything. So if I say it, I'm like, dang, then I have to do it. So a lot of times,
Yep.
you know, especially when it's time for me like to hit the gym starting again, or if I miss a long time without going to work out, I have to call somebody and say, look, I'm going to the gym every day this week. And I'm like, I have to hold it. I said it, so I got to be accountable. So you're right. I have accountability partners
Mhm.
around me that remind me of what I said. So that's
Right.
very important.
Right.
As we close out, tell us where we can find your book. Tell the viewers where they can find your book. Give us the name, title, release date, if it haven't already released, and tell us where we can find your book.
We'll start with the ladies.
Beatrice? Oh, okay, Beatrice.
Um, My website link is on my Instagram account. My Instagram is _DD Roberts. The website is ddrobertsbooks.com. Release date is spring 21.
Thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right,
The name of the book is titled Ladies Love Yourselves First as Happiness. It's due to be released November 29th. I had actually a couple of book talks where I had a few people like Trina Braxton and Tawanda Braxton. We did a book talk. So it's on my YouTube channel, Kadori Brand TV, and that's CADORI BRAND TV. So Kadori, CADORI.net is the website to pre-order.
thank you. Thank you. And Terry Mills, also
Yeah.
known as T.
Oh, you better let them know. So mine is actually out now. Nobody Cares, Work Harder. It is available on Amazon. So just type in Nobody Cares, Work Harder, Terry Mills. Please type in my name for it to come up because there's a lot of apparel on there already. And it is not mine. However, I would like to take credit for it, but it's not. Yeah, and if you're in Birmingham, man, just find me. The easiest way to get in touch with me is just Facebook. Just type in Terry Mills and go from there.
All right. And as we close out today, everybody, what is your favorite Black business of the week? And we will start with you, Kadori, and then we'll go over to Beatrice and then Terry.
All right, so I try to support, like you were saying, as often as I can, at least once a month, if not once every couple of weeks, a Black business. The one that I just bought some nice things for is called Riva Monte Boutique. It's in Atlanta. I bought it online, and it's RIVAMONTAE Boutique, and I think it's on Instagram and all that under the same thing, Riva Monte Boutique, women's clothing.
Thank you. Beatrice.
I will go with my most recent, as of yesterday, Boards and Platters, out of Atlanta. She makes these wonderful boards, cheese and crackers and fruit and candy, and yeah. So my football Sunday yesterday was Boards and Platters.
Terry.
All right. So I hope y'all don't be mad at me, but I got to do this. I got to plug T Mills Realty Group, my real estate company. So if you're looking for a house here in Birmingham, please hit us up. T Mills Realty Group.
Yes, and I would
Please,
like to
please,
shout
please.
out. I would like to shout out this week Harlem Candles. It's beautiful candles based out of New York, Harlem, New York. Y'all, they smell amazing. So go online if you're a candle person. Like I like to relax, lay in the bathtub, have my candles all around. But Harlem candles are amazing. They may be in Saks, they may be in Bloomingdale's as well. But Harlem Candles is my Black business of the week. So hey, y'all. Thank you so much for joining Town Hall today.
Cool.
Everybody that's tuning in, I know y'all learned a lot about, just books and just being an author. I know there's a lot of people out there that's trying to write a book, and here you go. I mean, these people that was on here today, the brilliant authors, I'm just so proud to be in their presence and just proud of their tenacity. proud of their persistence. And I think I just can't thank you all enough for just being on Town Hall, taking your time out to be on Town Hall today. So again, everybody that's tuning in to Town Hall, thank you so much for tuning in today. Please join us next week for a special show with a special guest. I am not going to give it away today, but please join us Town Hall next week. I hope this show has been an inspiration, but also a tool of information to take back into our community and share with our community for good information. So thank you again for joining us for Town Hall. See you next week.